You ever think about the end of One Piece sometimes? Like what happens after Luffy finds the One Piece or fights Blackbeard or fights the world government? What happens after that? Are you guys okay with One Piece just ending? Do you want a One Piece B or Two Piece? Or would you like a prequel? I think prequels are better because you can go back and you already have a baseline of what to go off of. You set up the lore. You can go back and do so many different things with a prequel. I mean, think of what Oda did with the IS Pirates. I don't think Oda thought of that at the beginning of the story, but it fit so well because Oda had gaps in the story in which he tied it in. Okay, the obvious reason why I'm talking about a prequel here is because of the Rox Pirates. You guys know what the Rox Pirates are, right? Well, we should know if you're reading the manga. And if you're not reading the manga, this video will contain a lot of spoilers, so I suggest you go click off and go catch up to the manga because it's fire, and come back. Make sure you come back. But every manga reader should know who the Rox Pirates are. We've had several discussions about this, not on this channel though, so I guess I should catch you guys up to who the Rox Pirates are. Or let's go over them really quickly. Okay, so the Rox Pirates are a group of pirates that traverse the seas, and they rule the seas, it seemed, before Roger. I mean, that's cool and all, but the amazing thing about these Rox Pirates is not only the fact that they rule before Roger, that's intriguing by itself, but the actual members of the Rox Pirates, or I should say the potential members of the Rox Pirates, because we have two confirmed. It's a lot of speculation, but we'll talk about it in a bit. How Oda revealed the Rox Pirates was genius in my opinion, because he used a character that we like and love to give us some more exposition. Of course, I'm talking about Hina. Who doesn't love Hina, right? Anyway, One Piece chapter 907, we get some backstory in regards to the Rox, and actually who was responsible for taking them down. Of course, that was Garp-san. This was huge information, not only because the Rox Pirates are not formidable they should have been, but also the perception of Garp. Before this information, a lot of people thought that Garp got his name or his recognition from capturing Roger, or quote unquote capturing Roger. Because of course, capturing the Pirate King, or the perception of capturing the Pirate King, you can't get more clout points than that, right? Wrong. Garp actually was responsible for the takedown of the Rox Pirates. In this conversation in chapter 907, they said before Roger, it was their era, but that was over 40 years ago. 40 years ago, apparently a lot of great things are going on because, man, Oda references 40 years ago a lot. Oda came out randomly at an event. I don't think he did himself, but we got information from Oda stating that he will reveal a lurking legend at some point really soon. For the most part, people thought it had to be Im-sama, because for Im-sama, we didn't know he existed, or it could be a she, I don't know. And just the sheer power that Im-sama holds, that's something we're going to have to recognize and acknowledge as a huge threat. It's a huge looming threat. And as far as what Im-sama wants to erase from existence, that's another conversation. But personally, I don't think it's set in stone that it is Im-sama. If he is the lurking legend, it's somewhat, okay, it's not underwhelming, but it's like, okay, it just has a different feel to it if it's actually a pirate. And I found it interesting that chapter 907 came out a few months after Oda mentioned that, and Hina had some important dialogue. She said that even without their captain, their strength is growing and Hina is worried. This caused a frenzy in the community because people were wondering, what does this actually mean? Because obviously they're no longer around, but without their captain, their strength is growing. Garp goes on to say there's no point in worrying. If they return, they'll be a threat, but events will find a way to surpass our imagination anyway. Garp is essentially saying it'll work itself out. There's no point in worrying because if they come back, they're back and they're going to be monsters. So this could have been ultimate foreshadowing by Garp because the Rox Pirates, as we know it, they aren't back yet, but two of the confirmed members are here. Big Mom and Kaido. Well, they've just met. They've just clashed in chapter 951 and it was epic. I guess this brings me to this. Which clash do you guys think was better? Now, it's somewhat skewed because we have the anime version of Whitebeard and Shanks. But I guess if you use the manga, which clash you think was better or holds more weight? I'll reveal mine at the end. But anyway, let's talk about Big Mom and Kaido really quickly. At the beginning of 907, it seemed like before we actually see what they were talking about, Big Mom asks Kaido to ally. Because the first response we get from Kaido is, what kind of joke is that? I refuse. And then Big Mom says, it's not you I want anything to do with. If I don't take out Straw Hat myself, it's a permanent stain on my reputation. And he's got something of mine that needs to come back. So either Big Mom said, hey, let's ally for a slight moment so I can get Straw Hat back, or she's requesting to come to Wano to take Straw Hat back, and Kaido says he refuses. Then of course we get more information about Kaido owing Big Mom a big favor. Kaido even mentions that it was in the past, but Big Mom says it's a lifelong debt. Now for Big Mom, we know life or treat or life or death, that's something that's huge with her power, so we're not sure what that means. We know Big Mom cannot put souls in corpses or other humans, but is Kaido even human? I mean, honestly, Kaido is the strongest thing. That's what he's classified as. And we've seen Big Mom put souls in animals. So in some way, did Big Mom help Kaido by using her devil fruit? Because Kaido fits here. He's not a human and he's not dead. At least I don't think he is. But of course, that's all speculation. Now, in this same conversation, Kaido says, I'm the one who has a score to settle with the kid. And if you come this way, I'll kill you, Lin Lin. And Big Mom says, come on, let's get along like old times, referencing their relationship or their past relationship. There was speculation when we found out how many kids Big Mom actually had. Well, I suppose it was after that because we didn't know of their relationship before then. But after that, because Big Mom did reference Kaido before in Wano, she found out that's where Luffy and them were headed next, to fight Kaido. And she said, how are you going to take that thing down? So we know at that point, Big Mom had knowledge of Kaido. We did not know this much though. But after finding out about Big Mom's and Kaido's relationship and the possibility of them being on the same crew, Big Mom has so many children, of course it was going to fly. Okay, does Big Mom have kids with Kaido? Katakuri's entire backstory was just released, and of course Katakuri is part of a triplet, him, Oven, and Daifuku, and they were born on a ship. So I'm going to make a whole video around Katakuri's backstory or his entire backstory being revealed, but I thought that was interesting because we always wondered, like, Big Mom rising to prominence, how did she do it while having kids? Well, obviously she was having kids while being on a ship. I think that gives her a leg up on all the other Yonko, right? Being pregnant while fighting the other Yonko, while protecting her young children. That's gotta be a feat, right? The kid everyone looked at was Oven because his facial expressions and his beard at least looked like Kaido, but I don't think that's a thing anymore. I mean, it's not unconfirmed, but I just don't think so. Anyway, fast forward to Wano, and Big Mom is trying to enter Wano, and Kaido tells King to push her off the waterfall, or to not let her enter Wano. Big Mom falls into the waterfall. We know what happens with her and Chopper. We get to Udon. We know what happens with her and Queen. She's carried to Onigashima, and that brings us here to chapter 951. The Big Mom and Kaido interaction was what we expected. It was some snide remarks, and of course we had an amazing clash. It seemed like Kaido was somewhat offended or upset that they put chains on Big Mom, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Regardless, in the official translation, Kaido says, you have shown your face here at last, Lin Lin, which seems like he was somewhat expecting her. But I don't know, with this interaction, where do we go from here? From the buildup of chapter 907 and having Big Mom here in Wano with some of her crew members, not the entire crew, because that would be somewhat overkill and that could actually lead to war. What's the purpose of this? I think it's obvious now that Big Mom and Kaido will ally. What I'm not sure about is how they agree to go after Luffy, because they both want him, but then who gets him if they do ally? But also, how do they save face if they don't capture him while they ally? Because that would be a stain on both of their reputations. The reason why I see an alliance here is that we cannot get a full Yonko fight without involving the crew members, and Big Mom's crew or an entire crew is not here. And this is not the war that Kaido wants. Kaido didn't want Big Mom in Wano because he was scared of her. He just didn't want to fight with Big Mom. I'm sure in the back of Kaido's mind, even if he feels like he's stronger, which is up for debate at this point, he owes Big Mom. So at this point, I think Kaido's going to give in to the favor he owes Big Mom and probably allow her to occupy Wano to go after Luffy. They may turn it into a game in which whoever captures him can take him. And now we would have the alliance versus Big Mom and Kaido. And that's a whole different discussion, because Big Mom and Kaido allying, that changes everything. The entire outlook of Wano has been turned on its head, because I made a video about the end of Wano and Kaido going down. Oh boy, that is expired. We have to make a new video about the new end of Wano with Kaido and Big Mom allying. But that's a video for another day. Now, for the Rox Pirates, how the heck was Big Mom and Kaido in a crew and they were taken down? Of course, 40 years ago, Big Mom and Kaido weren't as strong as they are now. They obviously weren't Yonko, but they had to be formidable, because Big Mom was a monster as a child, and Kaido, who knows what the hell Kaido was, but judging off trajectory, I would assume he was strong as well. Shanks, as a cabin boy, we don't know how strong he was back in the day, but regardless, Big Mom was a monster back then. And 40 years ago, Big Mom was what, 28? Not in her prime, but approaching her physical prime. How were they actually taken down with their captain and them? Now to the speculation as far as the other members of the Rox Pirates. I mentioned that Oda likes to play with the 40 years ago thing, right? So one thing he mentioned from 40 years ago is Bakken and Whitebeard. He said that Bakken, that's Weevil's mother, quote unquote. I don't know if it's his actual mother, but she was on the same ship with Whitebeard 40 years ago. Now we're not sure if that's the Rox, because if it's Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom on the same ship and they got taken down, holy Jesus, that's insane. But another pirate, or another character that Oda references as being somewhat active 40 years ago, is Shaki. Shaki even says that Luffy's grandfather, Garp, used to chase after her 40 years ago. Remember, Garp was the person who took down the Rox Pirates, so it actually would make a lot of sense if Shaki was also on the Rox Pirates. Some people speculate that she's actually the captain, but I don't think so. But Shaki has to be somewhat powerful. Shaki was able to discern how strong Luffy was in comparison to Rayleigh, which does tell me she has some form of observation haki. So Shaki, I expect her to have been a monster. Probably still is strong as hell. She was probably stronger than all the supernova in Sabaody at the time. Honestly, she still could be. So those are a few characters that Oda has referenced in regards to 40 years ago. As far as who the captain is, I don't think we've seen him yet. It would have to be somebody extremely powerful and also old enough to be the captain, and I don't think it's Shiki. This could have been the foreshadow that Garp meant as far as the Rox PIrates coming back, and they're not coming back at full strength, obviously, because they don't have their captain, but I'm sure Big Mom and Kaido are stronger now than their captain ever was. But if they do ally and the Marines get wind of this, I'm sure that would be huge news, because two Yonko allying, that's a major issue for the world government. And I wonder if they find out that they ally, would they send somebody to spy or send Marines there to be there on official duty to just keep an eye on things as far as like what's going on? But it would be a big thing, like Big Mom and Kaido allying even for a little while. That would be insane. And of course, if Oda tries to tie the whole Rox thing in and bring some of the old Rox PIrates to Wano, whoever they might be, that's going to be dope. But guys, leave your thoughts below. What do you think of the Rox PIrates? What do you think this alliance is going to bring? I'm going to have a full detailed video on what this alliance means for the rest of Wano, or the ending of Wano, and even the story past Wano. But for right now, leave your thoughts on the Rox PIrates. Who else do you think were the other members? Do you believe in Shaki, Bakken? What is the relationship there with Whitebeard, if there is any at all with the Rox? And make sure to like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.